Hello my lovely peeps and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, how are you? If you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to be debunking 5 myths about being non-binary. Now, being non-binary has a lot of misconceptions and a lot of people have ideas of what it is and what it isn't, so I'm gonna be here to clear up some of those myths for you today. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind you to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of this month. Every single subscriber counts. I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this wonderfully queer community, so please think about subbing, and let's get into the video. The first myth that we're going to talk about today is that non-binary is just a trend. Now, this couldn't be further from the truth. Non-binary identities have been recognized in many cultures throughout history and across the globe for hundreds of years. There's been recorded gender diversity in places like South Asia, North and South America, and the Pacific Islands. So no, non-binary isn't a trend or it's just a phase. It's not something that's new or that the kids are doing. It's a valid gender identity that's finally getting the attention that it deserves. The second myth about non-binary people is that non-binary people are just confused. Again, this is not true. Non-binary people have a clear understanding of their identity and their gender. It has nothing to do about being confused, but about simply not identifying with the binary of man or woman. Just because people don't have a clear understanding of what non-binary is doesn't mean that non-binary people are the ones who are confused. Honestly, this one feels like more of a projection of people who are just learning about what non-binary is and trying to infantilize a whole community of people who are just simply trying to be themselves. It's also kind of giving what people used to say about other members of the queer community, so I guess they really can't come up with like better arguments. The third myth about non-binary people is non-binary people aren't transgender. While not all non-binary people like to use or associate with the word transgender, being non-binary or falling under one of the labels that's under the non-binary umbrella does make you trans. Transgender simply means that your gender identity does not correspond with the gender that you were assigned at birth. So non-binary people do fall under this category, not identifying or fully identifying with the gender that they were assigned at birth. So if you're non-binary, don't feel bad for calling yourself trans. It is completely okay. I call myself trans. I am a trans non-binary person, and it's completely okay. And it's also okay to be a non-binary person and not use the word trans. It's all about your preference. The fourth myth about non-binary people is non-binary people are trying to abolish gender. Y'all, non-binary people are not trying to abolish gender, but rather advocate for a bit more of a flexible understanding of it. We're showing that gender isn't just black and white, man or woman, but a wide, beautiful spectrum of identities. We're just kind of here to show that there's so much more to the human experience than the two very rigid binary options that don't make everyone feel comfortable. And the fifth myth about being non-binary is you can tell if someone is non-binary just by looking at them. This is a big misconception and not true. Non-binary people, like all people, can express themselves in a variety of ways. There is no one way to look non-binary. You can't determine someone's gender purely based on their hair or the clothes that they decide to wear. This myth needs to stop. You can't just look at someone and be like, oh my god, that's a non-binary person. Some people look more like one of the binary genders or the other, so you can't always assume just because you're thinking about what the stereotypical non-binary person looks like doesn't mean that all non-binary people look like that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed these 5 myths about being non-binary that simply are just not true. Hope you learned a little something along the way. Please let me know in the comments down below what your favorite myth about being non-binary is. I love hearing them, and the more we get information out about being non-binary, the more people will understand who we are and our wonderful community. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.